It's often difficult to pinpoint the better quality action cameras, especially when they can be buried deep within a huge range of budget units flooding the market, although the latest model by Suku could very well prove to be a gem in the budget camera arena, the S33WS Pro. Based in China, Suku may not be a name you've heard of in the past, but several action camera revisions have resulted in what could possibly be their best camera yet, the SooCoo S33WS. With full 1080p HD video recording, wrapped in a promising design incorporating a built-in screen, as well as wireless capabilities, the unit seems to offer a whole lot in a small and neat package. Within the rather plain-looking exterior box, users will find the camera package pre-housed in a handy carry case, useful for storing and transporting the camera, as well as for accessories. The solid exterior is covered with a fabric fill with a single Suku logo. A dual zipper design reveals the contents protected by high-density foam. So, within the actual case, users will find the camera unit itself contained within its waterproof housing, a standard J-buckle mount, flat and curved adhesive mounts, along with a handlebar mount, and a mount providing the ability to clip the camera to belts, straps and other such items. Within the mesh pocket is a handy user guide, a standard USB to micro USB charge and sync cable, an open back door, a metal braided security leash, and a range of straight and angled extension mounts cloned from the GoPro mounting ecosystem. Nevertheless, it's a relatively impressive overall package with an array of accessories for use alongside the main camera unit, all wrapped up in that handy carry case. As you may have guessed, the camera housing, allowing use at up to 30-meter depths, does not only share its looks with the GoPro but also blends into the GoPro mounting ecosystem with the all-familiar finger mounts at the bottom. Other than the slight alteration in the front button placement, the lens area, even the top clip and backdoor system are clones of the GoPro standard housing. Weighing in at around 96 grams, the SooCoo S33WS carries an all-familiar look to the GoPro and many other action cameras on the market, with that standardized rectangular shape and lens up in the top corner, with a plastic construction blending a stealthy black finish with a rather nice overall design. The unit is rather aesthetically pleasing. With some simple branding, a single power button and status LED, and a speaker grille, the front is dominated by the lens itself, a 16-megapixel sensor capable of full 1080p video capture with a healthy 150-degree field of view. The remainder of the camera carries a soft touch feel and is pretty much standard when it comes to action cameras of this type, with a shutter button and a charge status indicator across the top, a Wi-Fi button and another status indicator and microphone pinholes on one side, and the standard array of ports on the opposite side, namely micro USB, HDMI and a micro SD card slot. An 8GB Class 4 card is included, although you'll probably want to change that out for a 32GB Class 10 card instead. A small clip on the bottom unlatches the battery door to reveal a 900mAh battery, good for up to 3 hours of video capture, although it's a non-standard size, so finding additional batteries may be a challenge. A 1.5-inch colour LCD display dominates the rear, along with a menu, back and directional buttons, making navigating menus and changing settings a simple task. There's no complaints when it comes to the camera design. It's a pretty standard design after all, and it works, so there's no need to actually change it. The unit doesn't carry that typical Chinese cheap feel either. It's actually rather solid. Hopefully it'll have the performance to match. Thanks to the built-in LCD display, setting up and operating the camera is a relatively simple process. Pressing the power button for a second switches the unit on, and an instant live view is available on the LCD screen. The 1.5-inch live view screen itself is relatively vivid and provides the ability to ensure the camera is lined up to capture the shot you need, as well as display useful information including battery life, remaining recording time, current mode, even current date and time. The back button on the rear of the unit switches between the video, photo and playback modes, and the shutter button, as always, starts and stops capture. All pretty standard stuff. When in a particular mode, pressing the menu button will enter the settings for that mode. Thankfully, the menu system itself is very easy to navigate. Here users will find basic shooting and capture settings, as well as some advanced level options. All features one would expect to find on any action camera are present here. Notice the extra video settings such as loop recording, G-sensor settings, even motion detection, all seriously useful for when the unit is used as a vehicle dash camera. Users are even able to embed their vehicle registration plate into the video. The photo settings are also all pretty standard, with some advanced level options such as white balance, ISO, exposure, and so on. Nevertheless, the directional buttons allow quick and easy menu navigation, while the shutter button selects options or confirms changes. One point to note at this stage, with the camera on for just a few minutes, navigating and setting menus, the port side of the unit does seem to warm up a fair bit. I wouldn't expect it to get so warm only being in standby, although we'll see if this becomes an issue while in use. The Suku app, freely available on both the iOS and Android platforms, extends on that simplicity when it comes to using the camera. Within the app, users are able to change some basic settings as one would expect, although all camera settings do not seem to be available, just the most commonly used. Not a deal breaker, but a slight annoyance. Nevertheless, the live view image is relatively sharp and vivid, although users will notice that typical latency, a common issue with most action cameras of this type. Common quick access settings surround the live view screen, which is a nice touch and useful to have, although that pretty much covers the app. It really is as simple as that. Not such a bad thing if its primary use is to line up your shots and to get video or image capture started. The Suku can capture HD video up to 1080p at 30 frames per second, which seems to be the standard when it comes to budget cameras in this price range, although it delivers reasonably good video quality all round at a good 150-degree field of view, meaning although some distortion or fisheye exists at the extreme edges, it's not as extreme as the GoPro or other cameras with a wider field of view. Daytime footage is crisp and clear as one would expect from any good quality action camera. The image is suitably sharp for a budget unit, not the best I've seen though. The Dasny P2 performed slightly better for instance, but even then the Suku performs very well, making it a strong competitor. There are cameras that capture sharper footage, but they also cost more. So you get what you pay for with budget brands, and coupled with its dash cam abilities, including the motion and G sensors, the Suku is certainly a strong contender. On the flip side though, low light performance is relatively poor. Users will find plenty of artifacting, as one would with most cameras in this price range, although the Suku does seem to fall well short with its competitors in this regard. Don't get me wrong, the footage is still usable for general social media and users can still make out what's going on, just don't expect to be making any blockbuster movies. Moving on to still image capture, although dynamic range could be better, images are generally relatively sharp. Results are vivid and perfectly acceptable with good overall color reproduction. The 16 megapixel output produces good overall results, and left at their default sizes, images are perfectly adequate and on par with competing cameras. Audio quality is also on par with other units, and just like the others, it's not great. It's enough to give viewers a general sense of their surroundings, but as with other budget action cameras, if audio is a concern, then a separate audio capture device is certainly recommended. At under $100, even less if you shop around, the Suku S33WS is not only competitively priced, it comes bundled with an array of accessories all wrapped up in a handy travel case. Although the GoPro Hero costs just a little extra and produces better overall video quality, the Suku has that built-in screen, an abundance of features for dashcam use, wireless functionality, and a whole lot more, all features not present on the Hero. Despite the disappointing low-light performance, it's the combination of good daytime video quality, features and accessories that make this camera a very strong contender above the competition. Better still, it's completely compatible with the GoPro mounting ecosystem, making it just as versatile as the GoPro with its infinite number of mounting solutions. Those confused by the assortment of budget units now available will be more than happy with the Suku S33WS. It's certainly a good contender when it comes to budget action cameras. If low light shooting is not something you'd need, this is certainly one to consider.